Good morning, children. Today we are going to learn about nutrition in human beings. So human digestive system is a very complex in nature, and different parts are involved and different parts will function different ways by using various digestive juices and also the enzymes. So by seeing the figure you will understand that the digestion starts from the mouth and ends with the anus. And digestive system is also known as the alimentary canal of man. So the alimentary canal is basically a long tube-like structure and which starts from the mouth and ends with the anus. And it is a tube-like structure which is having different parts. And there will be various regions which are specialized for different functions. And you will be having one doubt: what happens to the food what we eat will enter when it enters into our body? So you all know we eat various types of food which passes through the digestive tract, and it can be converted into different small substances which is utilized by our body. And this, to convert into a small pieces and which want to utilize to our body, it requires various processes. That means how the food will pass to the alimentary canal and what happens to the food or in our digestive system, all that we are going to learn in this. Which we eat will be first in the mouth, and that food, after chewing, it will be cut and crushed with our teeth in our mouth, and it will be mixed with the saliva, and which is the saliva is wet and it will, the food will become slippery. The food what we are chewing is called as mastication, and saliva is secreted by 3 pairs of salivary glands, and 2 pairs are located to the sides of the jar below the tongue, and 1 pair is located in the palate. And saliva contains enzymes, amylase, like ptyalin, which helps in the breakdown of complex carbohydrates to simple ones, and which helps in mixing the food, and it pushes the food to the next part, and the lower jar will help. And we can find the effect of saliva amylase, and that carbohydrates are absorbed which might be helping in our mouth. And naturally the food has a process to generate particles which are small and of the same texture, and this is achieved by crushing the food with our teeth. And since the lining of the canal is soft, that means the walls of the canal will be soft and the food will become wetted, and it makes to pass the food smoothly into the from mouth to the inside the esophagus. And when we eat something, we like our food waters, that is this actually not only water, this is a fluid which is called as saliva, and it is secreted by the salivary glands. Another aspect of food we inject, it is complex in nature, and it will be absorbed from the alimentary canal, and it has broken down into smaller molecules, and this all is known as biological crystals called enzymes, done by the biological crystals called enzymes. And this saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase, which breaks down the starch into complex molecules to give us the sugar. And the food is mixed thoroughly with saliva, and it is moved around the mouth and while chewing with the help of the muscles of the tongue. And it is necessary to move the food in a regulated manner along with the digestive tube, and it can be processed properly in each part. And the lining of the canal has muscles and which will be contracted rhythmically in order to push the food forward, and these movements are called peristaltic movement, and this will occur all along the gut or the alimentary canal. And from the mouth the food is taken to the stomach through the food pipe, or it is called esophagus also. And the stomach is larger organ which expands when food enters into that, and the muscles of the wall of the stomach helps in mixing the food which enters into it, and the muscular walls of the stomach helps in mixing the food thoroughly with the more digestive juices, and these digestive juices are taken care by the gastric glands present in the walls of the stomach. That means the walls of the stomach contains gastric glands, and these releases an acid called hydrochloric acid, and a protein also released which is used for the digestive enzymes called pepsin and mucus. And the hydrochloric acid will create an acidic media which facilitates the action of the enzyme pepsin. And the mucus will protect the inner lining of the stomach from the action of uric acid normally conditions. And we have often heard adults complaining about acidity. The exit of the food from the stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscles which releases it in small amounts into the small intestine. And this is the longest part of the alimentary canal, which is fitted in a compact space because of extensive coiling. That means the digestive system will be in the form of a coiling tube. And the length of the small intestine differs in various animals depending on the food they eat. Herbivorous, which will eat the grass, needs longer small intestine and allow to cellulose to be digested. And meat is easier to digest. Hence, carnivorous like tiger have shorter, smaller, and the small intestine is the site of the complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. And the small intestine will receive the secretion of the liver and pancreas. The food coming from the stomach is acidic and has to be made alkaline from the pancreatic enzymes to act. Bile juice from the liver accomplish this in addition to act on fats. And fats are present in the intestine in form of large globules which makes it difficult for enzymes to act on them. So the bile salts break down into smaller globules, increasing the efficiency of enzyme action. This is smaller to the emulsifying action of soaps on dirt that we have learnt about it. The pancreas secretes pancreatic juice which contains enzymes like trypsin for digesting proteins and lipase for break down the emulsification fats. That means lipase used to break down the fats and pepsin used to break down the pancreatic juice. Trypsin used for breakdown of digestive proteins. The walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. The enzymes present in it finally convert to proteins to amino acids, complex carbohydrates into glucose and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. The digested food is taken up by the walls of the intestine. The inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like, that means it contains numerous finger-like projections which are called villi and which will increase the surface area when it is absorbing the food. The villi are highly supplied with blood vessels which take the absorbed food to each and every cell of the body where it is utilized for obtaining the energy and building up of the tissues and repair of the older tissues. Okay, and the unabsorbed food which is present in the large intestine where it moves to the villi absorb water from this material and the rest of the material is removed from the body via the anus. The exit of this waste material is regulated by the anal sphincter. So this is about the digestive system of the human beings.